so much for proving myself to Denton, my old hometown. I wanted to be a hero to them. Now I'm starting to feel more like the villain. I came home to see my old man, to try to help the family. Well, Dad, I'm sorry. Wasn't much I could do for you. Your life is in the hands of God now, and I will pray for you. But if you and Mom have gone as crazy as the rest of town, then I don't want to know. I know, Mom, that the last time we spoke, you seemed all good and fine. But so did the people at Mavis's diner. So did everyone up until the time they tried to throw me down into that hole. What I do want to know is if there's truly help to be found from these lizard men, or iguanoid as some call them. Because if there's one thing I'm damned sure about, it's that B.C. Rosberg isn't ending his career as a brainwashed, slime-worshipping, good-for-nothing piece of mindless trash. Then I owe you nothing. And now, you're going down. This is Red Moon Roleplay.
We pan down from the sky and into the woods to where our three heroes are stood around the thick, tar-like puddle of lizardman blood.
Must have headed into the forest from here. I wanted to follow it, but it didn't feel safe. But I don't think we have a choice now. I think this is going to be our best chance of locating those lizard folk.
So I stand there with my baseball bat, and I'm itching a little, scratching myself, and I look down at this oozing puddle. I look up to Jonas and I say, yeah, well, at least now we don't have that other agent to carry around with us. No, it's just us.
No, that's right. We should be able to make swifter progress, I think. Dr. White, are you alright for a trek into the woods?
I simply offer a nod. I'm looking extremely agitated, tired, and annoyed at pretty much everything happening at the moment. I simply nod and grunt. Yes, of course. Hurry, we need to find this thing soon.
And I start leading the way into the forest. I have my gun drawn, but I still have my finger off the trigger. But I am ready to act should anything surprise us.
You follow the trail into the woods. It's easy enough to see. Whatever the creature was and wherever it was hit appears to have been bleeding pretty heavily. The trail is thick. You can only hope that the creature is still alive by the time you find it. Sure enough, as the trees get thicker and you start entering swampland, the ground giving out around your feet and having to worry about those expensive shoes you bought up in DC, Faulkner, you see the creature slumped against a tree. Now that you can see it, although only in your torchlight, it still doesn't illuminate the sheer alien nature of this being. To refer to it as a lizard is perhaps incorrect. It looks like a cross between a lizard and a fish, maybe more like a newt. Still, built like a humanoid with 2 strong legs and 2 strong arms, it was easy to see how it could be mistaken for a diving suit, as its skin and its scales look intensely rubbery and have a glossy black sheen. Each of its hands, if they could be called that, end with sharp claws. It does appear to be breathing. Again, like a human, its chest rising up and down. But it's forced breath. You don't know how long this creature has left. You'll have to cross the swamp to get over to it.
I look down at my fancy shoes and, these were already done for anyways. And I begin venturing into the swamp to make it over to this creature. I put the gun back into the holster. I don't wish to scare it, and I look to BC. Are you with me?
Yeah, I'm with you. Funny, I didn't expect it to be alone out here. I wonder how many of them there are.
It might not be. Who knows? But we must just show that we do not mean them any harm. That we are someone who has a common enemy with them. Dr. White, will you join us as well?
I suppose I'll have to, and I am examining this creature as best I can. I'm really doing my best to think how I'm going to establish any contact with it, and quickly. I have to pray it even knows some sort of communication.
It takes a while. The swampland sticks to your legs and threatens to drag you under, but none of you are rushing. None of you are losing your footing. And certainly the creature doesn't seem to be reacting with any great speed to your approach. Agent Faulkner is the first to get within spitting distance.
Oh there, I say, and I start approaching it like one would an injured horse. Whoa. And I get a strange feeling. And I remember back to what I've read in those documents. The documents that the government had prepared. And I say to the creature, Keknok Theren Shata. And I try to establish contact with it.
Very good. I'm not going to treat that as a quip so much as use of your known alien language. Its eyes widen to reveal two blackened beads, thick and bulging. It responds. Knock. Shafa.
And I point to the wounds that it has. And I say in our language, can I help you? Can I heal you?
It recoils when you point at the wounds. You can see from where you are that they're clearly from a gun. Someone shot it, and it would certainly make sense that it was Special Agent Morrell when he abandoned the bunker previously. It lets out a lot of chitters and squeals. It is clearly afraid of you.
Well, maybe you should put the gun down on the ground or something to show that you're friendly. I don't know.
And I do so. I put it down on the ground and I start approaching it slowly, and I point towards the wound. I try to get the message through with my body language that I only wish to help it. I wonder though, is whatever knowledge I have of this alien language, does it stretch beyond that greeting? What do you think would be reasonable there?
If you're prepared to take the mental health damage, then yes, your mind can open to greater language. I would say you'd need to pair it with some bad dubbing to use one of the cinematics. You do have currently 2 rewrites in your writer's pool, and bad dubbing costs you 1 rewrite to use. So if you're prepared to take a level of mental health damage to understand what the alien is saying,
then I shall utilize bad dubbing, and I shall allow you to dictate what the alien has to say.
I believe that Agent Faulkner has already suffered some mental health damage, is that correct?
Yes, I believe I have 3 mental injuries.
Yes, I think it's going to make sense for your character to go down a little further. I think you are currently on just a flesh wound, is that correct?
That would be correct, I believe, yes.
So you are down to that'll leave a scar, except that'll leave a mental scar. Any dice pools that fall within your archetype now gain 2 dice. If you lose another level, you will gain 3 dice, but then you will be very close to complete and utter mental breakdown. It responds to you in its tongue, which for some reason you are able to understand. Much like the other occasions where something completely inhuman has occurred, it's as if everything around you darkens, the flashlight dims. This time, Dr. White and BC don't appear to have noticed. It's like they're cut out of the frame, and it's just Faulkner and the lizard discussing with each other in an alien tongue that clearly no one else here would have known Agent Faulkner had access to. Agent Faulkner himself probably didn't know. He knew it. It's once again like something is speaking through him and through the lizard to communicate back. There's no mental pain this time. It's more of a vacuum. It's like a weight lifted from your mind. Like your brain has received a scrub deep throughout it and erased all inhibition that you had before of accessing this kind of knowledge, almost an instinctive knowledge, a primordial knowledge that you would have had just from being the descendant of an ancient human. And then from beyond that, perhaps the fish from the sea. The creature speaks to you. I trust you, he says, but I do not have long left. What is it that you want from me?
We want to find your people. We have a common enemy. The Oblique. They are threatening this town. They're threatening our families. Just like it is threatening yours.
My people are incredibly few now, human, due to the actions of your own fisher folk and the Oblique. Both have taken their toll on our race. We attempted to live in peace in the backwoods parts of your land, in the shallows of your water, but it is all becoming populated, all becoming savaged by your industry. And now with the Oblique waking again, it strikes at us when we are weak. I was merely out hunting when I stumbled upon one of your females running through the woods. I interpreted it as aggression. I defended myself when she came at me. It was only afterwards that I realized she was in distress. I meant none of you any harm.
I squinted at the creature. Is this... Do I think this is the same creature that I encountered before?
You do.
Huh. And do I understand this?
No, that's the most peculiar thing of all. This bad dubbing is channeled entirely to Agent Faulkner. In fact, what you are witnessing is Faulkner speaking in a language that doesn't even appear foreign to you. It appears completely and utterly monstrous and alien. Somehow, Faulkner is able to speak the exact same language as a humanoid newt.
I just look between the two, get this eerie feeling of someone else talking through Faulkner's voice.
I simply watch as well, utterly fascinated. I don't understand quite how this is even possible. Was this something the agent could do all along, or is it something else?
I would apologize on our species' behalf, but I do not know that it makes any difference. Know that we don't see you as an enemy. We see you as an ally, and we need you. We have no support from our own anymore. And there are good people in this town. I don't know if you know that, but there are those that are dear to us at the very least, and we would like to live in peace. And if we can get through this, perhaps we can find some wilderness, some place away from industry, from people. We can help the remainders of your clan, of your people, to find such a place. But first, we must destroy the Oblique, otherwise there will be no one left here. including us.
We have seen the way you humans treat those you subjugate and annihilate and put them on your own reserves, and that is not a life that we desire. We will make our own way, but we agree that with the oblique in existence, no peace can be found for humans or my kind.
Good. Good, I say, and I smile. Then, how can we find your people? How can we get their support as we move to the caves to take on the oblique? That is where it came from. That is where it is the strongest, yes?
It is, although its arrival there within the last century is new. It used to be a temple of ours, and the oblique was called to it through a ritual gone wrong. You do not need to look far for my people. They are around you as we speak, and with dramatic flair. Several lizard folk, numbering a near dozen, emerge from the muddy swamp waters around you, looking aggressive, angry, armed, baring their teeth.
Hold, friends, and I try to speak to Dr. White and to BC as well. No, they're with us. Don't worry.
I look at Agent Faulkner rather skeptically as these creatures start to surround us, but I hold my ground. After all, there's not much else I could do anyway.
And I try to make as harmless of a motion as possible, holding up my hands, and we wish to fight the oblique together with you. We can be allies, I say in their tongue.
They discuss among themselves, and of course you are able to understand. And the decision they have to make is quite simple. They debate whether to slaughter the three of you and eat you, or whether to take these humans at their word for not striking a prone member of their race when they had the opportunity. A bulky lizard creature steps forward, has a scar down its face, one eye, is clearly some kind of warrior.
I look at it, a bit terrified, sort of grasping my baseball bat, but trying to hold it back so not in a threatening position.
It points at BC, and in its best human English says, "I would fight this one. If it can overcome me, we will aid you."
I'll measure him and look him over. Does he look quite menacing then?
Yes.
You gonna fight me? And you'd help me you'd help us get rid of these oblique if I win?
If you can subdue me, human, we will assist you.
And that is your final word here. We could save our strength for the oblique. I mean, one of us is going to get injured here. Yes, we could use that strength to take them on.
An older lizard, you suspect female, although it is difficult to tell from these appearances in the dark, speaks up, also attempting human. It's interesting to note the way they speak. They have a vague Alabama twang just from proximity to the people here. Speaks up and says, "We are an old warrior culture. There aren't many warriors among us left. Our rituals and practices revolve around shedding blood. Are you trying to suggest that there's a better way to determine someone's conviction?"
Actually, yes, we are. I'll step forward at this point and remark, "I understand your, nature, and that you wish to resolve things through shows of strength, but there is more to strength than the brutish power of our limbs. Science, and the mind. we aren't just going to use your assistance to attack the Ublek in some sort of manner where we attack it with sticks and sharp rocks. We have something we believe you could use that could defeat the Ublek once and for all. I will reach into my pocket and unveil the collection of vials I have with some of the chemicals we used back in the lab to cause the reaction. The same chemical I placed into Agent Faulkner's bullets. And I say, this. I believe that even a little part of this substance I have here will not simply kill one Ublek, or however many there are. It could completely detonate every single cell in the being's very existence, wiping out your foe almost instantaneously. This is the power of human ingenuity. But we could show it to you, we could share it with you, and that surely is a better show of strength than this game you wish to play in a period of time where we have little. I am invoking my trademark, Party Crasher.
I sigh and I put my baseball bat to the ground, and I look. I take a step forward and I say, "I'm not scared. I would fight you, lizard, or what can I call you?"
You're better. As Dr. White is invoking his trademark of Party Crasher, tell us what that does.
So, my trademark of Party Crasher would give me, I believe, 3 dice to a science roll, and I'm trying to use science, combined maybe with some sort of persuasion here, to, well, crash this party. They want to have a fight to the possible death, or fight to submission in the typical fashion of their people. I don't think we have time for that. I'm trying to use science to prove otherwise.
Very well. I will allow you to use science with presence rather than manipulation, and you can add your +3 dice to that.
4 successes.
Do you wish to purchase any stunts, or do you just want to take that as a flat 4 successes?
I think on this occasion, let's just go for a flat bunch of success.
Well, that's a good call, because the lizards start chattering among themselves again, and Faulkner is able to pick up some of the language, but to your ear, Agent Faulkner, some of it is now becoming foreign babble again. You are starting to lose your grip on this dialect. It's very strange what your mind is currently contorting to try and do, to the point that very soon you don't think you're going to be able to understand them at all. They respond. The older female lizard speaks up. Very well, human scientist. We will take your route. And once the oblique is destroyed, maybe then we will have our blooding ritual.
I nod, and I kind of feel in myself how something is stirring within me, how I want to fight this being. I don't want to step down from a challenge like this.
He grunts at you. It's clearly not over.
I simply shake my head a little, looking at BC. I thought the boy had more sense, but I can see that he still wishes to do what all people wish to do and engage in foolishness for the sake of proving something. Disappointing. Still, for now I'll clear my throat, look to the agent and say, "Right, agent, let us all... Oh, I don't know. How should we proceed?"
Perhaps our new friends can meet us at the caves, and we move in there and we apply the solution that you hold, the weapon, and we destroy our enemy. Sometimes it is that simple.
I look around at them. Are they wielding things, or are they all just...
They appear to be wielding a mixture of, crude blades and long staves. At basic basic look, they would seem to be a primeval people, but you suspect there's a little more to it than that.
You think it's gonna work if we put that stuff on their weapons?
I look to Dr. White. Do we have enough to perhaps augment their weapons?
Well, I don't have it on me. We would need to head back to the lab and collect as much from the stocks there as there was.
Good call. It's close as well, so let's do that. Get them ready, and then we shall meet up by the caves.
As we are about to depart, then I quickly say to the large one, "Wait, before you leave. What do you even know of this Oobleck? Is it one organism spreading out among many, or is it separate?"
It grins at you, this great lizard. You can see it has a fanned scale all down its back now as it turns away from you. Then over its shoulder, it speaks. The oblique is a face of a god. In everything it inhabits, it is the same god. So if for you this means a single organism, then yes. The oblique thinks as one, moves as one, kills as one. It is the child of Yog-Sothoth.
I look a little confused. I hear a buzzing in my ear as he speaks of these things. And I just nod and say, "Very well then."
Shall we get the supplies then? Is there anything else that you can think of, my new friends, when it comes to how we can best strike at the oblique? Is it just to go to the cave, or have you located any other weaknesses, any other points of interest, anything that you think we can use against it?
One thing, we ain't your friends. And the second is there's many points of entry down to those caves, and attacking it from the main entrance would not be clever. If it has any controlled drones, both of our people and your own, it will be wedging them in that cavern to act as a wall, and you'll have to kill many to get to it.
How does it do that? How does it control people? Is it somehow inside of them? Is it soaking into their bodies somehow?
Anyone who has seen that transformation take place has not come back sound of mind enough to describe it.
Do they ever do that to your people as well?
Yes.
And the only way is to kill them?
So far as we found. The only thing I can recommend is you've got drains and sewers that lead down to that cave all throughout your town of Denton. If you climb down through one of those, and the oblique ain't directly beneath you, you might be able to get to it without having to wade through its army. But that does mean you're going to have to sneak into town to do so.
That is an excellent suggestion. BC, you mentioned that they tried to push you down into the sewers, yeah?
Yeah, that's right. There was this drain just outside the Mavis. You know Mavis's diner?
I do, but surely that must be an important spot. Perhaps we can locate one that is, not used for sacrifices.
We think the oblique heart moves around in your drains. So no, you do not want to go straight into one of them and land on the oblique. That would probably lead to a very swift end, but not painless for you.
Well, there are outlets. Maybe we can approach one of them from the sides.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Where are you going to meet up with us?
Well, it might be better that we stand together then and find one of these entrances.
Perhaps we can enter from many locations. That way we can perhaps corner it. We can surround it. We can attack it from behind. It's going to be very tight down there. If we all move into the same place, I think we might get stuck.
I like that idea. The bulky one, of course, speaking. All of us get a chance to deliver the kill. We take every single drainage entrance you humans have carved into the ground, and only one of us will meet this thing.
So we spread out. Do you know anything else that might be useful for fighting it if you have been fighting it before? Anything it's sensitive to?
Fire holds it back. He slams the base of his stave against a tree, and it belches flame from the tip. You can't see how that device works. It's clearly alien in manufacture. Fire holds it at bay, but we do not believe that fire destroys it. If we knew how to destroy it, it would have been gone a century ago.
Do you have any more of those kind of staves that you have there?
They're not fit for human hands. Use your wonderful science technology.
I can use anything that I lay my hands on, thank you very much.
That's good, BC. I'm sure we have some flares in the lab, perhaps, or we can locate them in town.
I don't want no flare. I want a goddamn fire staff like that.
I sort of smile, even though this is a very worrying situation, but I'm glad to see that BC can find the fun in it. Alright, BC, if you can get a hold of one of those staffs, be my guest.
Jern Drak is dead, the older lizard woman says, noticing that the slumped over lizard folk is now past. If you're so determined to use our weaponry, you can have his staff, and maybe you can make his death mean something.
I nod and I look around. Is it lying there next to him?
Yeah, you had just thought it was a lengthy branch from a tree, but given the reverence the other lizards are showing it.
I have been using plenty of new objects, machinery, new kinds of tools throughout my career. Many of which I didn't know anything about before. I'm used to learning new stuff. That's part of my entity. That's part of being me. Minimum effort, picking anything up. And so I pick this branch up and I examine it with the same kind of examination that I use when I always pick something new up. With determination that I can use it. Can I find anything out about it or examine it somehow?
I think we'll require a roll, although the difficulty for you to succeed is going to be a 2. You need to get 2 successes on this.
Yeah.
For you to work out how to activate it. Otherwise, you will be asking the lizards, which may mean they lose a bit of confidence in you. I would suggest you either use close combat or culture. Close combat will show you how to use it. Culture will show you, well, we'll tell you more about the device and potentially something like how to reload it, how to best use it, and pair it with intellect.
Can I use my trademark cultured warrior and use resolve instead as my determination that I'll be able to use anything?
Yep, I think that is the ideal use for that. And if you get multiple successes here, you might get an award-winning scene. You can exert some directorial control. And you can close off this scene however you wish.
You see, me standing there and I take some determined steps forward. I kneel down and I trace my hands along the staff, looking for anything that stands out, trying to think of how he was using it. He was swinging it in the air and sparks flew when he hit the branch. And so far what little I've learned from these people, and I try to combine that into some kind of determined act of learning what I can about this and instinctively figure this out. And I whisper to myself as I say this. I whisper, Flune drill, Cly Yog Sotha, as I did once before.
I think that's an excellent use of equip there. So I'm going to give you an additional die. I'm not even going to wait for the rest of the group to vote on that. Remember, you need 2 dice to succeed, which shouldn't be many, but it is 8s and above.
I got a 0 and an 8.
You passed by 1. In that case, as 0s count for 2 successes. That means not only are you successful in running your hand over the long staff, what first appear to be knots in the wood and where branches or twigs may have once hung, you realize that the notches are in fact carved. This is an immaculate piece of wood craftsmanship, and even more so for the ability within it. You aren't entirely sure how it works, but from what you can tell, there is a moving part or moving parts within the staff that create some kind of friction, some kind of energy.
Interesting.
Belches out of the top in a plume of flame. Do you want to do that to test it?
Yeah. And as I found these intricate mechanisms in this extraordinary wood carving, spend a little time sort of adjusting them and trying them back and forth. And I want to use the stunt fine-tuning, which means that if I'm spending part of a scene working on a machine, I can get +2 for a number of rolls equal to the number of successes rolled, which was the 3 successes.
That's right. And yeah, fine-tuning only costs 1 success, so go for it.
Perfect. So I do that, and then I try seeing how I can activate it while swinging it a little bit in the air.
Okay. I'm going to recommend, again, you could use culture or close combat, and I'm still going to allow you to pair it with resolve.
That is 2 9s and an 8.
The scene ends. I'm going to allow you your directorial control later, as you didn't use it. And you're not supposed to reserve it, but I think I'm going to allow you to. I'm going to describe what happens. As you swing the staff, a great plume of blue, green, and red flame gushes forth. The lizard's eyes widen, as do those of your companions, as the flame wreathes where the screen would be if this were a movie, and we cut to our next scene. On the outskirts of Denton now, you have visited the laboratory, picked up your flares, the remains of your equipment from the lab, and Dr. White's test materials. Indeed, I imagine Dr. White was quite reluctant to give any of it up. Some of this was his founding discovery as a human. Probably no one had gained as much understanding in such a short amount of time of the oblique as Dr. White was able to, and now he's handing out its methods of destruction, not only to his fellow humans, who he's only known for a brief number of days, but also to an alien race. As these items get doled out, the lizards nodding in a universal gesture of acceptance, some of them peeling off, parting ways, all heading to different drainage entrances around Denton. We are left with our humans. Dr. White, how are you feeling at this point?
Angry, upset, annoyed at the whole situation. How could it have come to this? I'll tell you how. The goddamn fools of this town, the goddamn fools of the government, and now these lizard men. I had hoped that maybe they could offer something more, but look at them. Nothing but a primordial species with grandeur about violence. Wonderful. Maybe they can give us some weapons that kill people even more effectively than we already can. No, the Oobleck could have been everything. could still be everything, but for now I can't focus on that. I can't let it be misused, and so I will have to destroy the possible key to human utopia. Damn it all.
The iguanoids are out of sight now. They've all headed to their respective destinations. Soon it will be time for the three of you to split up. Maybe now you're only seeing each other for the final time.
I move up to BC and I stretch out my hand. All right, old friend. This may be it.
And I stand there holding this staff in one hand, and I look at you, Jonas, with a sort of incredulous look. My shirt torn and singed and bloody. Yeah, old friend. Can't believe what it's come to. And you see a bit of concern in my eyes. And I say, I wonder if I should have tried calling my parents before I left. Do you have a phone here, or what do you think?
Best not know now. It would only distract us from what we must do. The best thing we can do now to protect them is to take out this threat. And hopefully that will break its control. Who knows? Maybe they have been taken by it, and then we would only be forced to use violence on them, and I cannot do that on my parents. No, let us destroy this thing first, and then we will see them again, and everything will be well.
I grasp my forehead and I look down into the ground and I say, well, I didn't even think of that. Heck, what if we find that our parents are some of those standing in the way for us? We would have to do it, you know. We would have to beat them down too.
Well, you'll have to deal with it when the time comes, boy. Now, both of you remember that it's very possible that the reaction could be instantaneous. I'm hoping it's not, due to the mass the creature might have. But, again, if you get this chemical into it, you might not exactly have much time to run. So just be aware.
So how do I do that? Do I throw that container at it, or what is the best way of delivering it?
I believe that would be the best way. I mean, the best way would be in a goddamn lab with actual assistance, but... And I look at Agent Faulkner. Not only has this town failed us, but your government has failed us as well. I hope you both know this is the worst option we're doing.
It's the only option, Dr. White. The only choice we have.
No, we had many choices, but they've been taken from us by your government. Everything. God damn it! And I hit my cane on the floor. I mean, just think of it. We could have had the cure to all disease. We could have had the cure to world hunger. We could have had everything. I'm blowing it up.
Yeah.
Now, listen here, Doctor. I trust you to do what you need to do when the time comes as well.
Well, I have no idea what exactly I'm going to be doing. Remind me how I convinced you two to let me go by myself with lizard men. I'm not exactly going to be attacking anything with this cane. Ugh. I just have to hope I find a sample and can administer. But if you two do it, then, well, good.
Yeah. Fine. Alright. I go and I pick up a bag of things that I might need on the way. A torch and the rope and the blanket, the toolkit of my dad. And I nod to the two of you. I guess I'll see you on the other side then.
See you on the other side, BC.
Yes. We try and find the mass of the Oobleck, destroy it, and get out, I suppose.
That's the plan, Dr. White.
Oh, very well then. For what it's worth, I don't think you two are responsible for all this folly. I simply blame everyone else. I trusted in your government, Agent. I think I was wrong.
Well, we shall have to see. Perhaps they will come to our aid. I say, and I smile, but I'm uncertain. I have experienced many things over these last few days that make me question whether or not my government truly has my best interests at heart. But no matter, I do this not for the president, not for a country. I do this for Denton. I do this for family. I do this for my friends. I do this for you too. And I start moving towards the train.
And our group splits up, each heading in a different direction.
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where we played the campaign Terror at Makeout Point, for They Came From Beneath the Sea. Our game master was the gentleman gamer, Matthew Dawkins, who also created the game. They Came From Beneath the Sea is published by Onyx Path Publishing, and we would like to extend a big thank you to them and to Matthew for doing this actual play project with us. The music for this episode is taken from the Cryo Chamber collaborations Cthulhu, Yog-Sothoth, Azathoth, Shab-Niggurath, and Nyarlathotep, and is used with permission from Cryo Chamber. Please check out cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel for more of their lovely dark ambient. Finally, a big thank you to all of our Patreon backers. Creating all of this content would not be possible without your generous support on Patreon. You give us loads of energy, you help us cover our costs, and you open up time for us to record and edit. So, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you ever so much. See you again soon.